It was a moonless night, one of those where even the wind seems to hide secrets among the dry branches of the trees. In the interior of Paraná, where time seems to move slowly and houses are separated by hectares of dense forest, there is a village forgotten by maps, known only as Mata Negra. But first, if you like dark tales and stories, click the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Their families carry stories they never dared to record on paper. But among them all, one stands out: the Silveira family. A lineage marked by an ancient curse, passed from father to son like a burden that no one chose, but that everyone carried until their last breath. The first Silveira to be cursed was Joaquim in the year 1892. It is said that he saved a child from a wolf that attacked him in the open fields near the forest. What no one knew was that that creature was no ordinary animal. Joaquim survived, but the bite was just the beginning. On the first full moon after the attack, the family collected the liquids from the basement of the house. They thought it was an injured dog, but what they found was Joaquim, covered in blood, with yellow eyes and teeth that were no longer human. He didn't recognize anyone. He attacked his own brother, tearing him to pieces. He only came to at dawn, naked, huddled in a corner, with no memory of what he had done. The village fell silent. The family locked him away during full moons, chained up like an animal. As the years passed, Joaquim went mad. But the curse, it didn't die with him. She really was passed on. And that's when the real terror began. An ancient ritual, whispered by an old healer in the region, said that the curse would never be extinguished. It would just change bodies. And the only way to keep it from spreading was to keep it within the bloodline. Decades later, Joaquim's son Elias already knew what awaited him. Since I was 7 years old, I was prepared. Fed on bitter herbs, forced to sleep in remote sheds, trained to resist pain. When he turned 17, the first transformation occurred. The father, already weak, locked him in a cell built especially for that purpose. The currents, however, did not resist. Elias fled, and that morning, 5 cows were found dead on a neighboring farm. The residents, not knowing what they were facing, began to talk about jaguars, but the cuts were too deep, the claw marks too wide. The village began to suspect. And then, the rumors turned to fear, and fear turned to hate. The Silveira house was burned down, but Elias survived and fled into the woods, and hidden there for years, surviving like an animal, until he met a woman named Maria. Maria didn't know anything. She married Elias and had a son, Andrew. The curse, however, knew exactly what it was doing. Elijah tried to escape his destiny. He tried to live like a man, not like a beast. But on the night his son turned 13, the blood cried out. The ritual happened alone, as if the curse had a will of its own. Andre had a high fever, screams during the night, eyes that glowed in the dark. When the first full moon appeared, he disappeared. 3 days later, he was now found, his face covered in dried blood, sleeping on the banks of the river. Elijah had no choice. He told everything. The weight of the truth crushed Mary. She ran away with the boy, but they were never seen again. Some say they tried to break the lineage, that they hid in the southern pampas. But the curse, it always finds a way to return. In 1976, a series of brutal deaths returned to haunt the Mata Negra region. Torn animals, missing people, howls echoing in the midnight. An old farmer swore he saw a creature with the eyes of a man and the body of a wolf. He said she looked like she was crying. Soon after, he disappeared too. The police investigated, but the reports were archived. Officers who dared to delve too deeply ended up being removed. Some went crazy, others disappeared. Those who still live in the village say that the current bearer of the curse is a certain Miguel, Andre's grandson. a quiet young man who lives in seclusion, working as a carpenter. They say he never takes off his sunglasses, even at night, and he is never seen outside the house in the days leading up to the full moon. The darkest thing, however, is what is whispered among the elders, that Miguel accepted the burden. Let him not try to fight the curse. Let him control it. Use it as a weapon against anyone who threatens your family, which is why no one dares to confront him. And that the village, even in silence, is still protected. Because we know what runs in the Silveira blood is not human, and that trying to break the lineage would be inviting something much worse to emerge. According to legend, if the curse is denied, if the heirs refuse the burden, the spirit of the beast will be freed. And then it will roam unchecked, jumping from body to body, destroying everything in its path. Therefore, the family never allowed the bond to be broken. The horror contained is worth more than the chaos unleashed upon the world. Today, on full moon nights, if you visit the Negra region, you might hear distant howls. But make no mistake, they are not wolves. They are the laments of a doomed lineage. And if you happen to come across a man with yellow eyes who carries the smell of earth and death, run away. Because when you least expect it, he'll be behind. You, not by choice, but because the curse chooses you as the next. After all, every lineage must continue, and the burden needs to be passed. Be careful where you step, because you could be the next to receive the curse.